Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by Genesis House and the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction and recovery. Join your hosts,
the Podfather, Jersey Ed,
as they break the silence and speak up about the real issues of addiction, treatment, and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your Friends in Recovery.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Friends in Recovery Podcast.com. I am the Podfather, Mike Miles.
I'm Jersey Ed here in Studio G. Well, it's not Studio G, Podfather. It's my living room studio.
You're moving on up anyway.
Moving on up.
Garage, right.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this beautiful view here, guys.
Studio C.
Studio C. Yes, exactly. We have the lovely Skyler with us. Skyler is an alumni, and she runs our alumni program at Genesis House. Hey, Skyler, welcome to the show.
From South Jersey.
South Jersey.
Yeah.
In the house. Jersey Ed and South Jersey Skyler.
Yeah.
Real quick before we start the show, guys, I want to just make sure that I get some information out to everybody. Give us a call at 617-379-1163 if you have any questions, or email us at help@friendsandrecoverypodcast.com. That's help@friendsandrecoverypodcast.com. Phone number 617-379-1163. And a reminder that, and Skyler has a part of this, and we can talk about this too, is that we have 12-step meetings daily, noon and 7 p.m. And if you go to our Friends in Recovery community of support or Friends in Recovery podcast Facebook pages, all the details will be there. And if you have any questions, just give us a call. So how you guys doing? Podfather, Skyler has been a guest on our show in the past when we were at a different studio, but she graciously came on today to talk about something that's coming up, guys. The holidays, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And we all used to have some tough times around the holidays. And I think this show, what we wanted to talk about was, Podfather brought it up, is that recovery in the holidays, or what did you say, Podfather? Just taking care of ourselves during the holidays.
Trying to get through the holidays and, maintaining your sobriety and your peace of mind and your frame of mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's a difficult time. And then you had the year that we've had, 2020, with this COVID-19 and all the crazy stuff with the political world. And it's just been a really crazy year. And statistically, there are a lot of people that are relapsing, a lot of people, it's going backwards instead of going forward. There's a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of angst. A lot of people don't know what's going to be happening. Some people, they're not getting paid, they're not working, They don't see anything in the future. They're closing more places down. It just seems like we're going backwards. And so we just want everyone out there who's trying to recover know that you can maintain your sobriety. You got to put a little more effort into it. And if you're just wanting to get sober, and I think the two of you would agree, and I'd like to hear what your thoughts are, but if you're just thinking of getting sober and you're going to do it on your own, well, you're just statistically, you're going to have a difficult time. Maybe 3% of society does that. But think of that, 3 out of 100. Those aren't really good odds. But if you really want to stay sober, we'll help you find the way. You know what? We've been doing it for a long time between the three of us. And you have a man's point of view, a woman's point of view,
and Ed's point of view.
And Ed's point of view. Unit. We have a
guy.
Jersey Ed's point of view. And Papa, I never even thought about that, is that this it is a tough time to get sober, and it's a tough time to stay sober, and not even just staying sober, but keeping your head about things. Podfather and I, and Skyler, you have some 24s behind under our belts. We could get frustrated really easy. We could not that we're going to pick up, hope, God forbid we ever do, but there's that dry drunk too that can come in, and trying to race around somebody while you're driving, or just yelling at somebody. That whole syndrome comes in too, even when you're this deep into recovery, such as we are. And that also sucks when you're in that place too. But we all fall into it once in a while, and then we come to a meeting, or we listen to a podcast, and we all kind of get around it. But getting sober during the holidays, staying sober during the holidays, and then like Podfather said, throwing a pandemic on top of that. That is insane. You know, what's your thoughts on that, Sky?
Well, it's crazy too, because it's like, there's already stressors we have around holidays, right? There's Uncle Joe that always drives me crazy and makes me want to drink and use. And there's the brother or sister that's still active that you used to use with. So being around them is kind of hard, right? Or there's the people that we think we want to see, but then once we see, it's probably not a good idea because it's a trigger, right? But then add a 6-foot rule and a mask in there too. So it's like these are already new things that we're dealing with on top of the stuff we already dealt with in recovery and holidays. So it's definitely a tough time. Yesterday was being Thanksgiving and all, and having a different year and how we do it. I wasn't with family. I was with my household, but I wasn't with like my brothers. We don't know what's out there right now. So it's already scary and it's uncomfortable, but I give a lot of credit to people in recovery right now in this pandemic, because this is not an easy time to get or stay clean for anybody.
I agree 100%. And I also think that recovery should be a pleasurable, there should be some pleasure in there too. I mean, physically, emotionally, spiritually, you should feel somewhat better. Even if you're just 3 or 4 days sober, look at yourself, look in the mirror and realize what you have accomplished in 3 days. You've detoxed yourself, basically. You might have a couple more days to go, but things are a lot better on day 4 than they were on day 1. And things will be a lot better on day 14 than they were on day 1, and so on. And, there should be some joy in maintaining sobriety. It shouldn't be all pain and suffering, all, bad situations, nothing but anxiety, nothing but panic attacks. It shouldn't be that. There should be some type of relief, some oasis that we can go to,
Yeah, and there's plenty of things we can do instead too. Like right off the bat, like when you were saying that, it's like a gratitude list. Like, that's something so simple that we can do, that even though we're stuck in the house, I can real quick make a gratitude list and see like, okay, I have over a decade clean. Like that's a big deal for me. I have holidays I've gotten through clean. Maybe this year's been hard, but I knew to reach out to my therapist, and maybe the Zoom wasn't the same with them. Maybe the phone call wasn't the same with my therapist, but I still knew to reach out. So that's something I should still recognize in myself, that I knew what to do. And then, maybe it's not the same, it's different, but everything right now is different. So I think we're having to adjust, but still use those skills. It's still the simplicity of early recovery that all of us have to use right now. The basics, you know what I mean? Reaching out to our sponsor, practicing the spiritual principles, and that's a big deal that we're all still doing, no matter how much clean time we have.
Absolutely.
Like Eddie said, Genesis runs two meetings a day. One at 12, one at 7. I mean, there's nothing more enjoyable for me than to go to a meeting and just listen. Just sit back and listen. And what you just said, Skyler, is so true. All of a sudden, I realized if everybody threw their problems out in the middle of the floor, I'd probably take mine back pretty quick, because I think I'm having a bad till I hear about someone. I heard a woman one night speak. She lost both her sons, her two children, her only 2 children, to addiction, and they both hung themselves. And she was 22 or 23 years sober, and she was speaking about it and from the podium. And honestly, it was such a poignant message, and I never forgot it. And I thought, and at the time I was having anxiety, and I was feeling bad for myself, sorry for myself. And I thought, wow, if this woman can come out on a Sunday night and travel 25 miles with a bunch of people and get up there and talk to us about her experience, strength, and hope in her recovery, then I guess, my problem is not so bad.
Podfather, I have to agree with you. I was just talking.
Eddie?
No,
Eddie, we lost your audio.
Can you hear me now?
No, we can. Yeah.
All right.
Start again.
Better? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Everything just lit up on my computer screen, and that's Zoom is. I guess there's a lot of Zoom meetings going on right now.
That adjustment.
Exactly. I can't even think my train of thought was thrown off there. But what was I just saying?
So we were talking about, listening to other people's problems, and we'll take our own problems back.
Yes. Yeah. So we take our own problems on and just getting out of ourselves. And this is where I was going. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Meditation and something to do just for ourselves. I'm a big kind of, and Mike, you got me hooked on meditation because he keeps telling me to do it year after year. I'm like, I'm not doing that stuff. And finally I listened to him. It was one of the best things I can do. It gets you completely out of yourself. What it does for me, especially with the holidays coming up, and because I love to future trip, Skyler, that, I'm always living in the future. I try not to, but it's kind of, that's my makeup, unfortunately. But what I find meditation does, it lets the thoughts come in and then lets the thoughts go out. Especially when you're doing the meditation at the time. And even like Mike, count with the breath and all that. You had us do that on one show. But what I can do during the day is that I can let this thought come in and I can let it go during the day. Like right now, like, okay, so this podcast, my first thought was kill this show. Let's redo it all. But that thought, I had to let it go because it was technically just hitting a button and you guys take over, talk for a couple minutes. So that's how meditation works. It lets the thoughts go. So even with the thought of drinking or the thought of cursing somebody out or anything along those lines, you just let it come in and let it go out. Let it come in and let it go out. And that's what meditation does for me. And then especially with the holidays coming in, somebody that's driving too slow and you have to get to the store. I got to get the last minute present. I got to do you know what I mean? So But yeah, Podfather got me hooked on the meditation stuff. So,
and maybe we could do that towards the end of the show. We could do a 20-second block, and it's just something you have with you. Everybody can do it. It's not something that you have to buy, something you have to go purchase or go pick up. It's just you have the ability to, slow yourself down, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, count backwards, take a few deep breaths, and then you're done. But guaranteed you'll feel better at the end of that than you did before you started. And that's something you can do 20, 30 times a day if you want,
Absolutely. Meditation is crucial though, and we know that from step work. We know from step 10, a daily inventory is so important, but we always forget about step 11, the meditation part. Like they're huge. Like we're supposed to be doing them. I hate saying supposed to, but it's healthy for us to do them because it's what we're recommended for a reason. Like those steps are divinely written, in my opinion, and they've saved my life. So if I can do an inventory and look at where I've done wrong, I could also take the time to meditate on that. But it's that step I always forget. But this pandemic has created me to look into step 11 and conscious contact so big because the meditation is a big piece that I wasn't forced to really do. And this pandemic has forced me to learn to sit still. And that's one positive I can say is my active step 11 is the best it's ever been in my entire recovery with over 12 years,
Amazing, right. And that's a tool you've had with you for all these years.
But never used it.
Exactly. And then when we use it, we're like, wow, why weren't we using this?
Yes, it's so true.
It's fun. It's funny, guys, when you find these new tools. Listen, we've been around for a long time, but it doesn't mean that we're not open to other things. And when I find a new tool, I'm like it's day 5 of recovery again. Like, oh my God, I can use it for this. But it's really cool because it's, we're sober, but we're finding new things out about this program.
Yes.
Maybe we were doing it one way, but Podfather with the breathing, Skyler now step 11, and we're all thinking it's really, really cool. So.
In early sobriety, I was having panic. I was about 18 months sober, and I was having these major panic, and they came out of nowhere. It was like I was doing all right. I was happy. My life was going good. I mean, I had my issues and problems I was working through. But all of a sudden, I was in a shower one day, and bang, it was like somebody snuck up on me and just hit me with a paddle. I was like, whoa, I thought I was dying. And that culminated for 18 months. I finally went and got some help and got some medication. And then I went probably another 18 months with the medication. It was called the Zipramine. It was a beta blocker. It's an anti-anxiety med. And it started me at 10 milligrams, Dr. Abraham from St. Elizabeth's. 10 milligrams, 20, 40, 60, 80, then 80, went backwards to 60, 40, 20, and then off. But I got to tell you, I would have done anything. If someone said to me, you have to eat rocks. You got to chew rocks, and you'll get rid of your anxiety. I would have been chewing those rocks because I was petrified.
Well, real quick,
That is real.
we're gonna take a quick break here. Let's talk about some more of those remedies after the break. And also, Podfather, when we come back from the break and we do our little thing, would you take us through a 20-second meditation real quick? And let's not wait for the end of the show. Let's do it now.
Sounds good to me. Friends in Recovery Podcast.com. I am the Podfather. We'll be right back.
You're first. First to respond. First to put others' lives before your own. And in an emergency, you need a network that puts you first. That connects you to technology, to each other, and to other agencies. Built with and for first responders. FirstNet, the only congressionally authorized wireless network for first responders. Because putting you first is our job.
Since 1992, Genesis House has been helping real people heal from addiction on their private recovery campus in beautiful Palm Beach County, Florida. Their family-owned program is accredited by the Joint Commission and offers detox and dual diagnosis treatment in a comfortable and confidential setting. At Genesis House, they focus on treating the underlying causes of addiction. Their comprehensive approach includes psychiatric care, individual and small group therapy, trauma healing techniques, and holistic care including yoga, massage, and animal-assisted therapy. After treatment, their clients enjoy the lifelong support of a nationwide network of Genesis House alumni. Call Genesis House today at 1-800-737-0933 to speak with someone who understands. Visit them on the web at www.genesishouse.net. It's time to start your journey to a long and successful recovery. Welcome back to the Friends in Recovery Addiction Recovery Podcast. We want to thank our sponsor, Genesis House, for supporting this show, along with individuals in recovery and the people that love them.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Friends in Recovery Podcast. I am the Podfather, Mike Miles, and I'm here with
Jersey Ed, guys, and a special guest today, Skyler. Hey, Sky.
Hey.
Skyler.
Thanks for joining us. Real quick, guys, I want to let you guys know again. They did it. They keep talking about us, Podfather. Those guys on the left coast, Sober Pod.
Boys over there, yeah.
Yeah, Carl, Ellen, Steve, and Chelsea. They were talking about my tattoo that I got of Carl and Sober Pod the last show. I don't.
A lot of fodder so they can use.
I know. And I don't have a tattoo of them, just to get it clear, everybody. There's no tattoo going on with them, but
Yeah.
yes. It's my yets. But they have a great show. They're always they're plugging us all the time, Friends in Recovery, and also they're plugging our community meetings also. The AA, the 12-step meetings they're really pushing that. So we want to thank them. If you get a chance, go to SoberPod. You can go to soberpod.com. They have a Facebook page, or just look up SoberPod under podcasts, and you'll find Carl, Ellen, Steve, and Chelsea. And just tell them Friends in Recovery sent you.
Sounds good. I can't wait. Excuse me. I can't wait until we do a dual show with them again. That was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was good. That was good. It was a bad day for me. I had a flat tire and everything else. Podcasting from my car on my iPhone.
That was good. That was on the fly. That was on the go. So yeah, check back some of the shows. Well, that was about in the summertime. Look through some of our shows and listen to it. I think it's called Sober Worlds Collide or something. Look for that podcast. So anyways, also FirstNet, built by AT&T. Thank you guys so much for being a sponsor. We really appreciate it. And that's a great commercial. If you didn't listen to it, go back. And if you did listen to it, go back and listen to it again.
How lucky are we that we have AT&T FirstNet?
FirstNet built by AT&T.
But how lucky are we? How fortunate are we to have them? And I've listened to other podcasts, and there are some good ones out there. But honestly, I've only listened to a half a dozen of our podcasts in the last 2 years, I'd say, only because we're all busy. But I kind of what do they call it? I binge listened one night. was doing some work in my house, in my room, and I was doing some work, and I put on the speaker on my phone. I was just listening to it. I think I listened to 5 podcasts, and honestly, I was surprised at how good, the content was really, really right on, and I just really enjoyed them. So I think we have one heck of a podcast.
Mhm.
It's a collaborative effort. We have Skyler, we have you, Ed, we have myself, and of course, Genesis has been with us forever from the very beginning. They're the one that gave us the start.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have a lot of good things
and
going on.
Stacy, and Stacy.
Yeah. Everybody's here putting this together, and we hope that everybody likes the content that we bring on. And I thought today, Podfather came up with this topic, staying sober through the holidays. It's a great topic, and it's something really, really great to kind of get into. Podfather, do you want to take us through a quick meditation before we start? Maybe like a 20-second or just something quickly so that we can get into.
So basically, when we close our eyes, we can't see anything, but we can try to recall or imagine. It's more of a recall. So if you think of the number 10, the 1 and the 0, you gotta think of that, and basically you have to close your eyes because that's just part of it. And you can't do this when you're driving, but unless you're at a red light. But if you close your eyes, which we're all going to do right now, take a deep cleansing breath, let it out, and just think of the number 10. Try to visualize a 1 and a 0. All right. Don't forget to breathe. Now think of the number 9, the number 8, the number 7. Don't forget to breathe. Think of the number 6, the number 5, so you can see it. Actually, try to see it. The number 4. One more good breath. Think of the number 3, the number 2, and the number 1. Open your eyes. Now, I was on 7 when I just felt completely relaxed, because I practice this. I do this probably 5-6 times a day, maybe more, but I do it at least 5 or 6 times a day. And I got to tell you, it just clears my head. It gets rid of all the whatever's in there. It gives me an open space, and then I start over again. And when something heavy comes up, that I know I got to prepare for, and I got a lot of things I'm behind on, I know I'll get to them, but I do this exercise, and it really does help. What do you think?
Even for like holiday shopping, guys, and you're in that craziness, or even if you're on your computer and you don't want to go out in a craziness holiday shopping and spending money, you can do that. I mean, I felt super relaxed after about 8, like Podfather 8, 7. I was like, I don't know what I looked like because my eyes were closed, but if you go watch on YouTube, you might be able to see. But it just completely relaxes, and you can do it a couple of times a day. Like Podfather says, whenever you get into a bind, just do it. And you don't have to even be in recovery to do that. It's just something you do. Sky, how about you?
I even had fun with it because I envisioned like the Sesame Street numbers and like
Right.
I'm so stupid. Like I'm not even being honest. I really did. I envisioned like the big Sesame Street numbers coming down, and it relaxed me and kind of made me chuckle inside that I thought about Elmo.
Right.
At 36, but it relaxed me. It kind of made me like just stop life for a second and just like giggle at a number for Sesame Street.
I love it. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to try that.
Well, I think what that does, exactly. What that does is gets us out of ourselves, guys. Yes. And that thought that you want to, ram somebody's car or yell at somebody, it takes you out like that instantly. And you're like, okay, I don't really want to yell at them anymore. I don't want to, tell them off for flipping the bird. And, even if you feel like using or anything along those lines, that's something that you can do to, I really recommend you calling your sponsor, of course, and getting to a meeting. But if you're in a jam, you just need to change your thought. That's just change that quick thought. And by concentrating on those numbers, that thought pattern changes and you can add something positive into it. Thanks, Podfather.
And you could do something sentimental too. And even like as you're counting, like think of, like, all right, step 9, I'm good. Like you can even take it with your steps. Absolutely. Who am I forgiving? Who did I forgive?
you spoke about step 10 and the daily inventory, and it's funny because I have a step meeting I've been doing for the last almost 2 years, every Tuesday night, 5:30 to 6:30 at Crossroads in Salem, New Hampshire, and we're up to about, I guess, 11, 13 people most nights.
Nice.
And then they also do IOP afterwards. But there's one guy in the room. He's got a rough go of it. He's been sober 6 months completely, and I mean he's a tough nut to crack. But he always balks at the steps. He's always, I didn't do that. He gets upset. We did step 7 the other night. He's like, it's too much God for me. I don't want to hear it. Blah blah blah. So nobody really challenges him. We just let him spew out his opinion, and that's it. But he's a guy that really could use the steps, and I try to tell him after the meeting that, it's not as bad as you think. And don't worry about God. Replace God with anything else. You don't even have to worry, but I think he's been dealt such a bad hand. I think he at one time was really into spirituality, and he feels like whoever his higher power is, I think he's Christian, let him down. So I can understand where he's coming from. But.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can relate to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And guys, what about things, Skyler, you touched on it before, but what about sober things we can do?
I was going to say things we can do during the holidays. There's tons of dances going on. I know that sounds silly, but even there's talent shows that are on Zoom right now. There's some different alumni places that have done that. There's 24-hour meetings on Zoom, and then there's alkathons. These are huge during the holidays. Speaker jams, they're another big thing during the holidays. But stuff at home could be the Zoom stuff, the gratitude list, stuff like that.
Now, dance meetings, that's not going on now unless you're dancing in your own house. I did go to a couple of the dances, the alkathons, and in person, and they do help being around people. But sitting at your computer and it's a different world. The other thing, guys, we also think about is is that the world always changes. Every couple of years things are changing. So as this is changing, people are going to get used to the Zoom stuff. We're going to get used to how we're staying sober this way. And, so this might be the new way, the okay way of doing it, and, there's, a couple of things that we can do here is get on a Zoom meeting. If, the other thing, Skyler, like what you said, there's always a Zoom meeting on somewhere. Most of us have to wait. I have to wait till the 7:00 meeting, and it's only you know 2:51. And now you just get on a Zoom meeting. You can find a Zoom meeting anywhere in the country. Shit, it's nighttime in Australia now. Go on a meeting in Australia. So I'm not sure if it's nighttime, but I'd have to guess.
Well, it's called, turning lemons into lemonade, and I really believe that. As a result of this pandemic, a lot of good things have come out of it, especially for, telemed, health things. Not that everybody wants to do that, but just look, everybody's getting packages delivered to their houses now, and it is the holidays. But prior to the holidays, I mean, FedEx and Prime, they're just through the roof, and it's a new way of living. We're finding a new way of shopping. A lot of stores are going to be closing as a result of this because they'll never rebound from what's going on. Mm-hmm. But fortunately for us, we're learning. Like Eddie, 2 years ago, I didn't know what a podcast was. I really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Me neither. I didn't.
And I did, and we have well over 120, I believe, now that we've done, and it's been great. It really has.
And that's the other thing. You can listen to podcasts. You can, if you're feeling down, we had some literature we had to read, and sometimes I couldn't focus on literature. Sometimes I couldn't understand it, reading stuff. But you get on a podcast. And here's the thing. If you don't like the podcast, there's another one out there. You don't like that podcast, there's another one out there. There's, Of course, the only two good ones are Friends in Recovery and Sober Pod, of course, but there are a whole bunch of other ones out there. And that's some of the tools on even you, Skyler. I know you do have a few 24s under your belt, but you didn't even have podcasts way back when you got sober.
YouTube speakers, that was it. Like YouTube like speakers and try to pick a topic, but the podcast, like you can find way more personalized like messages versus a speaker. I don't, because you guys talk and it's crosstalk, it's conversing with each other. Whereas the speaker is just sharing. So podcasts can be very beneficial.
Yeah. And there's always good help numbers on some podcasts. Like we're always giving out our phone number. If you send us an email, I get right back to you. If you need a phone call, we call you back. The whole 9 yards. Podfather, I'm going to say even in my era, I didn't have a cell phone when I got sober. I know you definitely didn't have a cell phone, but those days we had to go to a payphone, Skyler, and throw in dimes and quarters and it was crazy way back when, but so life is definitely a lot easier, I guess, to connect now is what I'm saying. But you know what? The drugs are really bad now. The addiction is super bad now. The pandemic is kind of pounding everything down, but thank God for these Zoom meetings, guys. And also thank God for them because we got this podcast and we can talk about all this stuff and help everybody out because of Zoom, so it's always a good and bad.
You don't need to be alone. You know what? I believe in the old saying, and it really does. I really relate to it. When I'm alone, I'm in bad company. There are times I like to be alone, like right before I go to sleep. I enjoy the solitude of, just being alone and winding down. But middle of the day, I don't want to be alone. When I'm having a hard time, it's good to pick up a phone. That's what they used to say in AA. Call your sponsor, call a friend, talk to somebody. Don't be alone. And basically that's what we're saying. You don't have to be alone. On the show notes, you'll see phone numbers, you'll see email addresses, you'll be able to contact us anytime, 24/7, 365. If you need guidance, direction, you have any questions at all, that's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
The cool thing about Zoom too is like I've followed up with the alumni and stuff. I'm like, just hop on. You don't even have to turn your camera on or say anything. Just listen. And that way you're listening to not just like a YouTube speaker, a live people speaking. And if you do have a question, you can type in the chat if you really don't want to turn your camera on and show yourself. Like that's kind of cool. I used to love candlelight meetings when I first came around for that reason, because they couldn't see my face when I shared. Now we can do it on Zoom. Yeah. Seriously, I used to go to one in Belmar, New Jersey, 2 L's, and it was a candlelight, and that's the only place I would share in the early recovery. So we could do that. We don't turn the camera on. We can still jump in and listen.
And we speak about it all the time. But guys, we have to close here. Great information. Skyler, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. And Podfather, great show. And if you need help, please reach out. Give us a call, 617-379-1163, or email us at help@friendsandrecoverypodcast.com. And we're always here. If you're an alumni listening to this, reach out to Skyler also. She's always here to get your information. You can reach her at SkylerN@genesishouse.net or call the 800 number, 800-737-0933 to get a hold of her for the alumni program. Skyler, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Podfather, you want to do your duty here?
My duty, yes. So this is Friends Recovery Podcast, and
stay sober, everybody.
There you go.
Peace.